Om Purnmadah Purnmidam Purnat Purnmudachyate Purnasya Purnmadaya Purnmeva Vashishyate. So welcome to our Saturday morning session. Now today we are starting Kathopanishad. In the last session we had the introductory part of this great Upanishad. Today we will begin this Upanishad from the very first verse, starting from the Shanti part. Om Sri Paramatmane Namah. Om Sahanavavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Saviryam Karvavahe Tejasvi Nav Dhitmatastu Ma Vidiswavahe. Now we recall that each Upanishad starts with the Shanti part. This is basically a prayer to the Supreme that give us the strength that we can continue on this path, give us the courage and give us the wisdom to, imbibe this wisdom. Now this Shanti part is very famous. You must have heard it many times. Most of the Pandits, they start with this particular Shanti part in so many, rituals in our daily life. Now it starts with Om. Om Sahanavatu. This is Om is basically the Supreme, request to the Supreme that to both the teacher and the disciple, we need your protection. So give us the protection so that we can continue with our activities under your protection. Sano Bhunaktu, that you need to look after us. O Supreme, you look after us. हमारा पालन करें, हमारी आवश्यकताओं की पूर्ति करें. So this is the second part. And the third part is Saviryam Karvavahe, that give us the strength, give us the, strength to stay together in adversity so that we can continue on this path. And then it says that we should be able to imbibe the wisdom of this Upanishad, and we should not have any enmity against each other. So this is the prayer both by the teacher and the disciple for their protection, for their well-being, and for enabling them to understand the wisdom of the Upanishad. Now, we go to this Upanishad has two vallis. They call it valli, you can call it chapter. And each valli has 3 parts. So total of 6 parts in 2 vallis. Now, as we discussed in our last session, this Upanishad is also in the form of dialogue. The Mundak Upanishad was also in the form of dialogue between Sonak Rishi and Angira Rishi. Bhagavad Gita is also in the form of dialogue between Arjun and Krishna. Some other Upanishads are not in the form of dialogue, like Mandukya Upanishad or Isavasya Upanishad. They go straight to the truth and tell you, the wisdom straight away. In this, it is dialogue. Now, the speciality of this Upanishad is that the dialogue is between a small child who according to some of the commentators was about 5 to 6 years old. And the god of death, Yamraj. Yamraj, who is also called Niyanta of the universe, who is regulating the universe because he brings everything to death so that everything could be recreated. So this is a dialogue between the most potent regulator, most powerful regulator in the universe, and a small child of 5 to 6 years of age. So imagine this kind of dialogue and discussing the secrets, discussing the Brahma Vidya, the secrets of life and existence. So let's move one by one and then we'll go into the details. Om Ushan Havai Vajasravashya Sarvadesam Dado Tasya hai Nachiketa Nam Putra Ash. Now, Vajasrava had a son. His son's name was Udalak. Udalak, the name is not given here, but it is given somewhere else. So Sravas means son of Vajasrava. So Udalak was the son of Vajasrava. And Udalak's son was Nachiketa. So these are three generations from one after another. We will find this kind of references in all our scriptures, where they give the name of father, mother, their, what we call the DNA, Vansavali, and then they move forward one after another. In Bhagavad Puran also it is same way. So it makes it totally, authentic in the sense that the reference is complete in every way. So now Vajasrava wanted to do a yajna to desire certain things. Now we understood that yajna can be in two ways. One is to desire certain things. Another one is to surrender to the Supreme without any desire. But in this case, Udalak is doing this yajna for reaping certain fruits. So it is not entirely niskam, it is with a desire. But at the same time, it also shows that this family has, Vedic traditions. They have been following Vedic traditions. Has been following Vedic traditions. In that way, it is a family of what you call religious people. Though they wanted to have desires, but still religious people. So this yajna which he was doing, yajna is called Viswajit yajna. Now Viswajit yajna requirement is that everything you have with you, you have to donate it. Now the donation means all your possessions must be donated. That is the requirement of this particular yajna. So this is how the yajna is going on. And Nachiketa, as a young boy, is watching that yajna. He is basically standing with his father and observing what he is doing. So now let's go to the second verse. Taham kumaram santam dakshinashu nimanasu saddha vavesh somayanta. Now Udalak has given most of his possessions, and now the time of dakshina. Dakshina is the last act of donation which is given to those pandits who are performing the yajna. So he is giving this dakshina. Now the time of dakshina has come. The yajna rituals are over. He has donated his property, and at the time of Dakshina, he is doing what he is doing. He brought the cows which are very weak, the cows which have lost their milk, the cows which have hardly any strength, and those cows are being distributed at Dakshina to the Pandits who perform that yajna. So this created a curiosity in Nachiketa that, these cows which have lost most of their life, they have no milk, they cannot breed anymore. What is the purpose of donating these cows? So a sort of, thought came in his mind. Now this thought coming at age of 5, 6, obviously it was due to certain good sanskaras, good, what we call software at the time of his birth. He must have done certain very good karmas in the last birth, and that is why at this age, young age, he started thinking about this whole process. And he, it ignited a sort of curiosity in his mind, and that is why the next verse tells us what is going on now. Also, the Nachiketa got little bit excited, and he told his father, which we will go in the next verse, which goes forward. पीतोद का जग्द तृष्णा दुग्ध दोहा निरिंद्रिया ananda नाम ते लोकास्तान स गच्छति ताददत. So he's telling his father that these cows have drunk all the water. They don't have desire to eat any grass anymore. They have given up all their milk. There are no more milk left. Their sense organs are not working properly because they have become very old. And if you donate these kind of things, then this is not going to do good to you. That is what he's saying. He's thinking actually at this moment that this is not going to do good. Why are you donating cows which have no utility? It will be, in fact, a burden on the person who is receiving them. So this whole dialogue begins with this thought process of Nachiketa. And he's trying to tell his father, he's thinking right now, then he will tell his father that what is the purpose of doing all this? Why are you doing this? Because these cows are not fit for Dakshina. Dakshina, is the last act of donation after the yajna. And actually, Dakshina is the most important part of donation. Yajna is performed, and then we reward the Pandits and, people who are performing yajna with Dakshina. And that has to be very pure, that has to be very good, it has to be the best of the entire process. And here it is the worst in the entire process. He has already spent, most of his resources on other things, but for Dakshina, he has these cows which have lost all their lives and they are very weak. Their sense organs are not working properly. So he is thinking in his own mind, what is the purpose of this? And then he tells his father, Sahovach Pitram Tat Kasmai Ma Dasyasit Titiyam Tritiyam tam hovaj mritve tva dadamit. Now he tells his father. He tells his father once, twice, thrice, three times. Ditiyam, Tritiyam. This is the Sanskrit verse here. While he was thinking all this, he tells his father, "Ki respected father, why are you doing this? And if you are doing this, I am also your property. Whom will you give to me? You will also give to me to somebody, because I am also a part of your property." A young child having this kind of curiosity, that the father has to give up everything which he has. So he feels that I am also father's property and I should also be given away. So he is asking once to his father, "Whom will you give to me?" The father did not reply. Second time he asked, "Whom will you give to me?" He did not reply. And when he asked third time, the father got angry. And Udalak told him that Hovach mrityave tva dadamiti, that I'll give to you to the death. I'll give you to the death. This is what in his anger the father told to his son. And Nachiketa, being a very obedient son like Ram, Ram was also obedient while he was being coronated. Instead of coronation, he was given 14 years of vanvas, and he accepted that. Not only accepted, he refused to take the coronation when he was persuaded by his younger brother Bharat that you must take the coronation. There's no way you can leave it. He said, "No, there's no way." Similarly, here Nachiketa is in the same capacity. He heard these words from his father that he will be given to death. So he took it as the the final decision of his father that he will be given to the death. And from here, the Upanishad actually begins, because so far this was only the background to the Upanishad. The background, the circumstances in which all these dialogues happen, that was it so far. So now the actual Upanishad begins from here. Bahuna memi prathamo, bahuma memi madhyam, kim swadam masya kartavyam, yan madhyam karishyati. He felt, Nachiketa felt himself, that he was, in many groups, he was the best disciple. That is, Bahuna Memi Prathamo, first tha. He was the first disciple, top disciple in many groups. Bahuma Memi Madhyam, in many groups he was in the middle. He was, but he was not the last in anywhere. He was not a poor disciple in any sense. Even that age, he was, thinking about himself that he has never been lagging in performing his duties. Kim Sudham Masya Kartavyam means he has to perform his duty. So he took it as a duty that father has given him his instruction. Father has told him that he will be sent to the death, god of death. And now it is his duty to perform that. He goes to the god of death. And he wants to perform that, he wants to fulfill the desire of his father, and that is how his journey begins to the home of Yamraj. He leaves for the home of Yamraj. He does not stay with his father anymore. He says he has been given instructions by his father that he should be consigned to death. So he should go to Yamraj and go immediately. So that is where, and since he has been one of the good disciples in the past, he must perform his duty properly. This is the same feeling as Ram had that feeling that he must obey his father and he must perform his duty properly. But Ram understood from the circumstances that he must go. That is the only option. So here also Nachiketa is in the same way, felt that he must leave now and must go to the door of Yamraj. So this is how the Upanishad begins. Though the father told him in anger, but he took it as his duty and he moved forward. Now we'll take one more verse today. Anupashya yatha purve pratipashya tatha pare sasyamiv mratyam pachyate sasya miva jayate punah. He was thinking all the time that because he came from a very good dynasty, a dynasty which was religious, a dynasty which was believing in the Vedic traditions. And therefore he said that my Purvaj, my ancestors have been very good in their conduct, and therefore I should not put a blemish on the entire dynasty, and he should perform that immediately. And that is how he says it doesn't matter if I have to die. He must move forward and must go to the abode of Yamraj. This is his internal thinking. He is debating in himself. He is fortifying his duty. His duty as a small child, imagine 5, 6 year old child. He is deciding on his duties. So he is internally having a debate that my dynasty, my forefathers, my ancestors have been so great. And therefore, following their path, I must do this, even if I have to die. Doesn't matter. Sasyamiv mratyam. That is what it says. Even if I have to die, I should do that. So this is how the whole process starts in this Upanishad. And the real dialogue between Yamraj and Nachiketa will start from now onwards. So this background is very, very important. We must understand the background. We saw the Mundak Upanishad started from a question from Sonak Rishi, that what is that one thing? If that one thing is known, that entire universe is known. That was a very profound question because Sonak Rishi himself was a saint. He was very wise, very, knowledgeable person. So there it started with that question. If we see Bhagavad Gita, the question started from Arjun. He felt completely bewildered when he saw Vishnu Pitamaha, Dronacharya, and the members of his family in the battlefield. And he felt, how will I kill them? How can I kill them for the kingdom of this earth? I will not do that. It will not be good. And he starts giving sermons to Lord Krishna, and from where the dialogue starts. So in this case, the dialogue starts with the circumstances of that yajna. The yajna was done for certain results. It was not without what we call niskam. It was not a niskam. It was having some fruits out of it. And in that, there is some interpretation by some writers that this Vishwajit Yajna, before it started, Udalak transferred part of his good property to his family and then kept these cows and, not so good properties for donating during the yajna. That is one interpretation, but in the Upanishad, it is not mentioned anywhere. So we should not go into that. So obviously, whatever he had already donated. And when the question of dakshina came, he gave these cows which were practically dying. Now the question here is that he should have kept the best thing for dakshina. Dakshina is always the best part of the yajna. So it was not observed by his father Udalak. And this created a curiosity in the mind of Nachiketa. And then when he asked, his father got angry and he told him that, okay, I'll give you to the god of death. You go to the death. And he took it as his duty that since father has instructed him, he should do that. Now, those were the different values. The times were different. The values were different. And, that time the word of a father was, like not only an instruction, but it was something to be followed. This was part of, rigorous religious life, that whatever father says, you must follow that. Of course, those values are no more in today's world, but this is how this, dialogue begins. So we will look at the dialogue from next session onwards. But this context is very important. This context between a small child of 5-6 years of age and Nachiketa and Yamraj, who is the most powerful regulator in the world, begins from here. So thank you very much. Today my throat is not so good because I have very bad cold. So sorry for that, but thank you.